But I'm just curious, because it got so personal, things about his family, and he was talking about things that were being alleged about you. And do you regret any of that? Do you wish in hindsight it didn't get that personal about his family, the religion, all that, the dad?
Yeah, so some of the things maybe too far, but hey, it is what it is, and it's the fight business. At the end of the day, it went the way it went, and that's it.
The world of combat sports is divided into before and after. The rivalry between Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov. This feud changed the whole sport forever, and to this day, many still consider it the most intense and unforgiving rivalry in combat sports history. We've seen John Jones and DC make peace, Silva and Sonnen bury the hatchet, and even Pereira and Adesanya move past their wars. But when it comes to Khabib and Conor, reconciliation seems impossible. Now, in 2025, with a rematch completely off the table, it's time to look back at how it all unfolded, revisit moments many may have overlooked, and ask the ultimate question: was Khabib really the good guy and Conor the villain? But before we start, I ask you to subscribe to our channel if you don't want to witness another eagle jump. Let's go. In today's MMA, we see more and more fake and manufactured rivalries where fighters try to stir up drama just to grab attention, often discrediting each other's skills. But with Khabib and Conor, it was different. Both fighters acknowledged and respected each other's skills. Some bloggers called them friends for the sake of a catchphrase, but they were never friends, and it would be hard to even call them buddies. Back in 2014, after Conor sent the young diamond to another dimension, Khabib waited for the Irishman in the tunnel, not to test his grappling, but to take the only photo in which they didn't want to kill each other yet, but were smiling rather sweetly. The two exchanged friendly tweets and even discussed training together, but it never happened. Who knows how history would have unfolded if they had met in the gym back in September 2014. We might have seen a completely different version of Till and Chimaev.
This is #1 bullshit.
It is no secret that Khabib's early career was not going as ideally as Conor's, despite the fact that he flew into the best league in the world earlier. After Khabib checked the RDA wrestling, he had a hard time and did not compete for 2 years, struggling with all possible illnesses and injuries. While Khabib couldn't return, the Irishman managed to become a fan favorite, taking the interim belt in a fight against Chad Mendes, who came on as a replacement for Aldo. Conor's left hand became mystical as his own predictions. McGregor became a real star of the company, and the UFC finally booked the fight for the undisputed belt against the King of Rio, Jose Aldo. The Irishman literally bullied the dominant champion in every meeting, bringing out the emotions of one of the most calm and respected fighters.
Just please show up December 12th. So I don't want to scare him anymore. He's petrified. He went running before. So now I'm going to take the opposite approach. Cuddle him, look after him, whisper sweet nothings, tell him it's going to be all right. It will be over quick. And hopefully get him into that octagon December 12th and then end his career.
Ahead of the Aldo fight, few believed in the Irishman's chances. Most were hoping the Brazilian would shut up this cocky guy and make him pay for every word he had said. One of the few who believed in Conor was Khabib, but when the Dagestani was shown Conor's recent interview about a potential move to lightweight, Khabib responded harshly.
Conor McGregor said that if he wins at 145 pounds, he wants to move up to 155. What do you think?
No, I like Conor McGregor, but he come 155. For me, it's smash him. No problem. He's striking guy. I like him. I think he can beat Jose Aldo, maybe finish him. But a lot of people think Jose Aldo beat him. But my opponent, I think he kill him. But if he come 155, welcome.
At that moment, we couldn't even imagine what awaited us very soon. And as soon as the Irishman entered the cage on December 12th, 2015, the MMA world changed once and for all. Those 13 seconds changed the history of the sport forever. The new featherweight champion at the time broke down exactly what happened.
You deserve it, you called it.
Yeah, from nothing to something to everything.
At the age of 27, the Irishman has taken over the MMA world as he promised a couple of years ago. Dana White allowed Conor to make history and become the company's first double champion. And here, the interests of the Irishman intersected with those of the Dagestani Eagle, who was preparing for his UFC return, while Conor was dealing with Nate Diaz. The confrontation between Conor and Nate became so iconic that the fighters broke all possible records in 2 fights and encouraged so many kids all over the world to start training. Conor shocked the world once again by jumping 2 weight classes, because if someone in the modern world even thinks about it, they will get something like this answer from Dana.
Good luck with that. Good luck with that. He's a big mouth fucking idiot.
Khabib was supposed to meet a new lightweight champion at that time, Eddie Alvarez, who literally ate RDA for dinner. But once Conor's hand was raised in a rematch against the cocky Stocktonian, the route was rebuilt. Dagestani was forced to fight Michael Johnson, while Conor got a stylistically good opponent to make history, and Khabib clearly didn't like it because the UFC simply used him, even though he didn't realize it.
Well,
If you know UFC used by name, why you don't say nothing?
I did.
For when?
I did.
Show me.
Ask your management team.
No, show me.
What do you mean show you?
I talk with
Because you don't answer. You don't respond.
Of course, I block you.
He knows.
That I'm Eddie versus Conor. Eddie.
Because that's the fight that.
I know.
No team, and you know that, Khabib. You know better than that.
But why you talk with me like friend? Why? For me, is loyal is number one. If you don't know what is this loyal, you have to go Google Translate.
I know exactly what loyal is, but I'm not rooting for anyone. I knew that was the fight that they wanted.
Very good before, but when UFC sent me 2 contracts,
sure.
you know.
Put pressure on Eddie to accept the deal and not negotiate.
Why you don't say nothing about me?
Because I didn't want to play in that game. I'm here to report the facts and the news, not to play into the game of putting pressure on another fighter.
We speak with you directly, right?
No, you don't answer my texts. Your manager Ali does, and he knows exactly what I felt about the situation.
I understand you play different.
The situation became more tense with each passing day, and eventually the fighters crossed paths at the weigh-ins ahead of 3:05, and this time their meeting was not that friendly.
Yeah, we will see.
Conor McGregor flatlined Eddie like he was nothing, making one of the best title performances ever, while Khabib almost broke his opponent's arm, making him quit. But more attention was paid not even to the victory of the Dagestani, but to his cocky call out to the Irishman, which to this day is considered one of the most cold. And when after the fight, the Dagestani was asked about Conor and his title ambitions, it immediately became clear that we were in for one of the greatest fights in the history of combat sports.
UFC have to make this. I talk with Dana between every rounds. I talk with him, I say, hey, don't send me no more your fake contract. I need real contract. He talk about, oh, hey, you have to finish this fight. I say, you know already I deserve this. You have to send me after this fight real contract. I say, okay, let's go finish this. After I finish fight, I talk about, I'm waiting for agreements. Maybe Brooklyn, why not? 209, 11 February, 210 in Las Vegas. Anywhere, it doesn't matter, like Russia, Ireland. I can fight with him his backyard. Or backyard Alvarez, like Brooklyn, backyard McGregor, like Ireland, anywhere.
After the fight, McGregor said he's gonna take a break because of his wife's being pregnant, and he also added that he wanted to see an activity from Khabib to make this fight happen.
This is #1 bullshit.
But no one could have imagined what awaited the main star of the MMA world in 2017. If you'd been told in 2014 that this Irish kid would become the first ever double UFC champion, bringing Floyd Mayweather out of retirement, how would you've reacted?
Everything is possible in your life when you believe.
Is he fucking awesome?
We have a separate video on the channel dedicated to this fight and its promotion. And since here we are talking about the feud between Conor and Khabib, let's listen to the reaction of the Dagestani athlete, who, by the way, commented on this fight live on Russian TV, and few people actually know about it.
Каким боксером предстал Конор Макгрегор?
Хороший боксер на 3 раунда. Скорость такая неплохая была. Вся его подготовка, как я понял, была удачна только на 3 раунда. Им надо начать профессиональную карьеру, как начинают все профессиональные бойцы, точнее боксеры, с 4 раундов.
While McGregor earned, according to various sources, between 80 and 120 million, Khabib was collecting multiple injuries and setbacks, while the UFC had a new interim champion in Tony Ferguson, who, as well as Khabib, wanted to get his arms on Conor for taking everything he worked for. And do you know what the UFC boss thought about that?
Good luck with that. Good luck with that.
As soon as Khabib returned from injury and took Barboza's soul, the UFC promised him a title shot. But as fate would have it, sometimes setbacks lead to even bigger moments. We might have never seen the legendary Khabib versus Conor fight if it weren't for one legendary interview from Conor's former friend, Artem Lobov.
Khabib снимался уже 6 раз. Он снимается, у него там чуть-чуть заболело, у него там в заднице или еще где-то он снимается. Так кто здесь чикен у нас? Кто боится секунд? Будет сниматься каждый раз. Что еще тут говорить?
This interview set off a whirlwind of events and marked the point of no return in the relationship between McGregor and Khabib. It became clear that the line had already been crossed. In the spring of 2018, El Cucuy and the Eagle were once again set to face off, this time for the undisputed belt, as Conor still hadn't returned. But on April 1st, 2018, something unbelievable happened. Tony stepped on a cable and tore his knee ligaments, forcing the fight to be canceled. Because it was International Laughter Day, no one really believed it, especially given Tony's famous training videos.
No blood.
It's disgusting.
The UFC began looking for an opponent for Khabib, and his opponents changed literally every few hours, but no one could have foreseen what Conor was preparing. The meeting between Khabib and Artem was inevitable ahead of the tournament in Brooklyn, as both fighters were cutting weight. As soon as the cameras started rolling, Khabib and his team approached Artem to make him pay for his words. This video instantly went viral, and McGregor, like a true gangster, boarded his private jet and flew straight to Brooklyn. The rest is history.
Hey, open the fucking door! Hey, you fucking... Oh, shit. Let's get into it. You alright, Mike? Mike, you okay? Get unreal, man. Yo, we gotta get a medic. Get a medic. Hey, these fucking what? Who are these guys? What the fuck is wrong with him? He's got a fucking pass. That's why, oh yeah, fucking dude, we're gonna fucking kill this guy. Great, come to the back. You don't need to be in that. Dude, what the fuck? You need to be in that. What's it? We're gonna kill this guy 100%. We're gonna kill this motherfucker. My cut, man.
As soon as Conor went to court, Khabib stepped out of the bus and started threatening the Irishman. saying that he could have sent him a message and they could have met anywhere.
Send me a message, like location, I'm gonna come. Whatever you want, doesn't matter. Ireland, New York, Brooklyn, or Moscow, doesn't matter.
But the thing is that Lobov gave that scandalous interview almost a year earlier, and Khabib had 9 months to write Artem in the same way, but he decided to attack him with his team, and Conor responded in kind. There is still talk to this day about whether it was all planned, since Khabib was not on the bus with his team. But publicly, of course, Dana criticized the Irishman.
I mean, do you want to be in business with Conor McGregor right now? Do you want to chase this guy around for interviews and buy his fights? Do you? No, I don't think anybody is going to want it right now. No, I think everybody's going to be pretty disgusted with Conor McGregor right now.
The situation got out of control. Many athletes suffered, and some even lost their fights because of Conor, and the UFC soon did what they had to. The greatest fight in the history of sports was scheduled for October 6th, and Conor started his biggest and dirtiest trash talk campaign. Despite the fact that Khabib was an undefeated fighter and hardly anyone had ever landed on him, except for that left hand of Johnson, the fighters' predictions were different and the odds were almost equal.
I just got Khabib winning. Don't know how, but I see him winning.
If I had to die on a hill with my prediction,
you have to die. It can be on a flat surface.
Conor McGregor.
This fight broke all possible records and completely turned the page in the world of hand-to-hand combat. Nothing has ever come close to the hype around this fight. The pre-fight conference was broadcast to Times Square, and the entire world was watching. Conor appeared with his newborn whiskey bottle and started throwing mental punches on Khabib.
So here's my location, you little fool, right in front of you. Do something about it. Do something about it. Yeah, you'll do nothing.
Khabib was calm and tense at the same time, because it would later turn out that Cormier and Javier Mendez were setting the Dagestani up for war. There were also some funny moments that later became iconic.
Is zero. Your grappling is zero. I'm gonna mow you. Let's wrestle, kid. Let's wrestle. Let's wrestle. Let's wrestle. 6 October. Let's wrestle. Let's wrestle. Yeah, you help me.
Conor decided to come to the second conference on his own time, which really pissed off Khabib. When asked if Khabib would shake Conor's hand after the fight, the Dagestani answered clearly and predictably.
No way. No way. Why not? Because
the hatred between the fighters was evident at every moment, and the Irishman touched on topics that no opponent of Khabib would ever even think about talking about.
A man involved in something who's now in prison, but Vladimir Putin locked him up for embezzling 150 million worth of money from the Russian people, started to invest and pump money into his gym. So he started to grow in power, started to gain this false power and started thinking he was a little hard man, tough guy. Then shit hit the fan with your man. He gets locked up and now there's not a bean left. And now here I am to put the nail in the coffin.
Later, Conor's team said that the Irishman was not himself in preparation for this fight. He was angry and aggressive, beating up his sparring partners and drinking.
I know that we've come to know you as Mystic Max, so you gave me a prediction when we sat down earlier this week. Could you tell everyone here what that is?
Devastating KO. Too easily hit. Too flat-footed. Too predictable. I'm gonna knock him clean out.
This is #1 bullshit.
The ceremonial weigh-in of these two fighters is more epic than any action movie and better than 50% of modern fights, because this feud has gone far beyond the boundaries of sports. Khabib gave another legendary flash interview that is still relevant today, while Conor, as always, did not mince words.
Don't let
let that smelly rat put that hat on your head, Joe. The smell of that fucking thing. Don't ever let him put that hat on your head. It's good to be back. UFC fans, it's good to be fucking back. The king is home.
Thank you, sir. Good luck to you. See you tomorrow night. Conor McGregor, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here with the champion, ladies and gentlemen. Khabib, what does this fight mean to you to defend your title tomorrow night against Conor McGregor?
Hey, first of all, I want to say Alhamdulillah, God give me everything. Alhamdulillah, I know you got this, they don't like this. Alhamdulillah, tomorrow night I'm gonna smash your boy, guys. I'm gonna smash your boy. And I want to say thank you, all Irish fans, you know, all fans around the world. Because of you guys, this fight is happening. Thank you guys, and tomorrow night, inshallah, and still.
On October 6th, 2018, the world froze in anticipation of the meeting of two champions and the main stars in the history of sports. To this date, despite the confident victory of the Dagestani athlete, the Irishman showed incredible takedown defense and character because not everyone could survive this second round. Conor became the first fighter to take a round from Khabib, winning the third on all three judges' scorecards. At one point, he rocked Khabib with a right uppercut, but in the fourth, Dagestani finished what he started, securing the submission victory. But the real difference between a fake and a real beef is that usually after the fight, fighters shake hands and admit it was all for promotion, but not this time, because the real war started after the finish. Dylan Dennis kept insulting Khabib, and that's when we all witnessed the infamous Eagles jump. Meanwhile, Conor, rising from the ashes, was trading bombs with Khabib's brothers while sitting on top of the cage.
That's fucking illegal.
Despite the one-sided beating, this conflict has not been resolved to this day, and the hatred between them is growing stronger every day, even though both have not competed for a long time. This is a real ideological conflict that has gone beyond the bounds of reason, and many people have suffered from it. But I have to clarify something. I realize I might get some hate for telling you this now, but if we're looking at this conflict from a human perspective, you should know this. I don't want to dive deep into politics, but I promised you something you might not know. You can hate Conor for his arrogance and rudeness, but in one thing, the Irishman was right even back in 2018. Khabib is not exactly the man he portrays himself to be, and now we are not talking about his agent or connections with the mafia and dictators. Even before his fight with the Irishman, Nurmagomedov stated that Poltava, a city in Ukraine, was his second home, and that many of his close relatives were born there and still live to this day. The UFC Hall of Famer repeatedly mentioned that he owed everything to this country because his journey started there. Yet, when the well-known events between Russia and Ukraine began in 2022, Khabib Nurmagomedov didn't say a single word in support of his home gym or the people he once called his family, while he publicly supports Palestine very often. I'll leave you with the words of the great athlete and undefeated UFC fighter Khabib himself. I am here in Poltava because my uncles have been living here for 30 years. They supported me in everything and provided all the conditions so that I could train. Never forget your roots. The conclusions are yours to make because I don't believe there's a clear right or wrong side in this epic rivalry. Khabib provoked Conor, constantly trying to make him fight, attacked his friend with a crowd, and got the same response. Leading up to the fight, Conor crossed the line with his words, insulting Khabib's family and his father, something he paid for brutally inside the cage. To this day, he hasn't fully recovered mentally from that loss, as no one had ever beaten him like that before. But one thing I can say for sure, Conor McGregor is who he is. He doesn't pretend to be someone he's not, and he doesn't care if you like him or not. That's why he changed this game once and for all.
I slapped his brother and his cousin around on top of the cage. He tried to jump off the run. This is not over, so there's dispute. There's got to be a rematch. That's what I want.